So a little bit about this program. The Sales CSI program is a combination of best practices, tools, and techniques that we're going to apply in our business to monitor exactly what's happening on our websites and then backtrack the things that are working, the sales that we make, figure out where our buyers are coming from, and really learn by applying these proven techniques using off-the-shelf software. So nothing custom about this. It's going to be standard tools you're going to learn to use and to apply in your online business for online sales and lead generation optimization. So this course is for small business owners, marketers, and webmasters, really anyone who is in charge of ensuring that sales are increasing on a consistent basis and that you're getting a great return on your investment in your online store, your lead generation efforts on your website, or whatever it is that you're selling via a website or e-commerce system. And so this program obviously is intended to increase revenue, but it's also intended to help you optimize and fine-tune your lead flow generation. You may have a business where you're not really selling as much online, but you're generating leads that then get followed up on and closed, either inside sales or actual sales account reps or even resellers. So whatever the case, you have your website, you have traffic coming to it, and what we're going to do is show you how to get the most out of that traffic and how to convert more of your visitors into leads and those leads into sales. When people come to your website and visit your website, what content on your site is being consumed and what isn't? Which traffic sources are actually bringing you the quality leads that are converting into sales? And really what's working for you, what's converting for you, and what isn't. And in particular, we're going to spend a lot of time homing in on your buyers and backtracking where your buyers are coming from, the people who are actually using your site, and we're going to learn what they're actually doing on your site. You may be surprised at what people are doing. You may think they're using your site in one particular way, and you'll find out for sure that people are probably visiting your site multiple times. They're coming in through autoresponders and other mechanisms, and they're consuming your content in ways you probably aren't aware of. And so this will help you understand what traffic to concentrate on, the offers that are working, and your ads that are working, the landing pages, and what to do about optimizing those, and your opt-ins, etc. Really your whole end-to-end process from the time that someone first arrives at your site all the way through to when they become a customer and even come back and repeat buy. So this is going to enable us to help you decide what to reinforce, what do you need to fix, and then what kind of areas you might just eliminate or reduce your investments in. And then we're going to talk a lot about best practices so that you can hit the ground running and optimize your system and your site, just applying some known techniques that work, which will reduce the amount of time you need to spend experimenting. And then we're also going to talk a lot about the tools that are needed in order to instrument your site and make the most get the most value out of the effort that you're putting into optimization and analysis. Let's talk about what we mean by CSI. So conversion success investigation, or a conversion success investigator, is going to go through a process we've outlined here that begins with step one of instrumenting your site, making sure you're gathering the correct data so that you can proceed to step two, which is the analysis of the information and the analytics involved. And then step three is going deeper than just your basic analytics and doing what we call forensics, which is doing a deep dive into backtracking what buyers are doing and what people are doing on your site that's actually making you money, and then finding ways to reinforce and amplify those particular things. Well, after we gather the data from the analytics and forensics, we need to make some observations and decisions, and then that will lead us into some tuning and optimization. All right, so in step one, what we're going to talk about is putting the infrastructure elements in place, like Google Analytics. You may be already using Google Analytics and AdWords conversions, for example, but if you're not, we're going to talk about how some basics to get you started in the right direction to get some basic instrumentation in place. Then we're going to move into some more advanced tools that perform visitor tracking. I like and recommend OpenTracker. There are other tools that do detailed visitor tracking. And then we're going to look at an even more advanced tool that was originally developed for affiliate marketing called Affiliate Profit, and this tool is going to is what you're going to be able to use on a daily basis to very carefully and closely track your conversions. And what I'm going to do is take you through how to add the tracking scripts, and which tools to use, and how to get started gathering data with them. Then we're going to dive into each of these tools and how to set them up and configure them properly so that you can get the most out of the tools. So it's one thing to gather data from these tools, it's another to have them configured, like we see here with Google Analytics, so that you've got your goals, your funnels, and e-commerce settings all properly configured. Similarly with AdWords, you can do some conversion reporting, but you have to put the right things in place in order to do that. And then Open Tracker, we'll talk about the visitor tracking by IP address and looking over multiple sessions what your users are doing, your visitors, when they come to your site. And then we'll also go deeper on conversion analysis and what we call AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action, and what level of attention, interest, desire, and actions that your visitors are taking. And this will be very granular, all the way down to a keyword basis. If you're doing a pay-per-click, or which websites certain traffic are coming from, we'll start taking a different point of view on this traffic, and that's going to help you a lot. And then so we'll get these tools configured and then show you how to analyze and interpret these results using the tools. Then we're going to get into the really fun stuff, which is the forensics. And in these tools and methods, we're going to go deep. We're going to choose, like, for example, a buyer, and we're going to go through a process where we identify a suspect's IP address, like of a buyer, and then we're going to backtrack. Where did this buyer find us? What sources of traffic did they use to find us? What content did they consume before they bought? What did the sales cycle look like? So we're going to go through and look at a number of different areas that are going to help you start to establish patterns, and then we'll look at your site and start looking to say, well, are we really optimized in terms of your site, your autoresponder, and sort of the processes that you're putting in place to help usher people through the correct content that they need in order to make a buying decision. And then we'll also go through this conversion cycle to look at all the different kinds of content and help you get the big picture of the content, because people come to your site, they don't necessarily just come to your product page, take a look around, and and buy. They oftentimes are looking at your competitors. They're looking around at all their whole worldview that they have out there on the internet of your competitors, the alternatives, and they're reading papers, reports, watching videos, etc. And then eventually, when they're ready, they make a buying decision. Well, we want to get a sense for the kinds of patterns and the types of buyers that you have, and this forensics will help us really understand all of this in a lot more detail. And then in step 4, we're going to begin making observations from the analytics and forensics, what I call the fact base. This fact base will enable us, much like when you're solving a crime, you start taking, you see on TV, they take all of the evidence and they start posting it up on a sticky notes or whatever, on a board, writing it on a whiteboard. Well, whatever method you can use different methods for organizing the fact base, but we want to start writing these things down and gathering this information so that we can make sense of it, and then make certain observations about what's working, what's not working, which sources of traffic, offers are really working for us, which ones aren't, landing pages, opt-ins, etc. Then we're going to need to make some tough decisions, okay? And some of these will be tough, some of them will be easier, but we need to decide what's working, and then what we want to do is figure the things that are working for us. We want to find new ways to reinforce, strengthen, and amplify those things, and scale the things that are working up bigger and faster. And that's going to be sort of the low-hanging fruit that's going to give you the biggest return, probably the quickest. Then we need to find out what is it that we're surprised by, and we say, wow, I can't believe this is really not working like I thought it should be. And we're going to figure out what we want to fix. And then we're going to say, well, what else do we have that we could do, but it just really isn't important enough, or we need to just stop doing some things. And we'll make a list, a stop-do list, and things that we're going to just avoid from a waste standpoint. There may be sources of traffic you're wasting money on, or keywords and things like that we just don't really need to be spending time or money on. So we'll figure those things out as well. And then ultimately what we want to do is then figure out how do we take things to the next level and come up with some decisions about what we think we need to optimize and tune. So then, obviously, we're going to begin optimizing and tuning and running some experiments based upon all the observations that we've made on what it is that we need to do to replicate up and scale up the things that are working, and then to optimize things and really improve and tweak and tune the content and the opt-in rates, the close rates, the trial rates, the downloads. Depends on what you're doing in your process, but we're going to find the things that matter the most, and we're going to start tracking those things, and we're going to start making changes one step at a time and experimenting with things that will optimize the site ultimately. We will also talk about basic A/B split testing, as well as more advanced multivariate testing and a few different tools that will be useful for you. So in terms of just a quick overview, what we're going to cover in the next module is how to begin by getting your site instrumented, how to then configure these analytic tools properly, how to go do the deep dive site forensic analysis, the observations and decisions that we need to make. We'll talk about the different kinds of tuning and optimizations and the tools involved there and approach to take. And then we'll look at some, in a bonus module, the conversion best practices so that you can just take certain things and go try them right away, and we'll give you some new concepts and some particular things to go try in your tuning and optimization experiments to see if they work for you. But by taking best practices, you can start with what's known to work pretty well on a consistent basis and then just go apply that in your business. So, without further ado, that's the quick overview. I appreciate your time, and I will see you in Module 1, and thank you very much.